Hi, let's talk with Yolanda. How you doing? How you feeling today? It is absolutely beautiful today. Yes, beautiful. Hermoso días. De precioso. It is absolutely beautiful, and I am appreciating it. Just the fact that I am here on this platform. I am so grateful and humble. How you feeling today? Today, I just want to piggyback off of the topic of street violence and trauma and how it correlates together. We've talked about a lot of different things on this platform. We've talked about fear. We've talked about depression. We've talked about PTSD. We've talked about anxiety, social anxieties. And today, I just wanted to piggyback off of the different topics that we have reviewed thus far and to check in with you to see how are you and how are you feeling. How you feeling today? Want to start off with an icebreaker. I hope you have your curtains open or your blinds open or whatever you have to your window. I have mine. I even have my window open today because they're not actually doing any work to the building next door, so I can get the fresh air and just breathe it in and let it out, okay? Have the door open just to let that air flow around. So I'm going to do an icebreaker with you on 3. 1, 2, 3. Please do it along with me. If not, share it with someone else, okay? I want to breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, exhale, okay? Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and last one. Inhale and exhale. It's an icebreaker, and it's also a way that when you're feeling that your emotions are getting the best of you, or your anxiety, or the panic attack, or just period, you just want to bring it up and bring it down, okay? You're going to inhale in and exhale out. Let's talk, people. I wanted today to talk about the trauma in the city and how we are affected by it, how we are affected by the trauma of the pandemic, that still plagues our city, our country, and other countries, okay? Just like everywhere. So trauma is real, and trauma brings about sometimes fear, isolation. These are different topics. Hey, Annette, what we have talked about thus far, okay? And solutions to what we've talked about, okay? We talked about domestic violence. We talked about suicide being on the rampage and how prevalent it is, okay? And if it's real to you, it's real to me, because your crisis may not be someone else's crisis, but someone else's crisis may not be yours. But if it's real to you, it's real to me, okay? We talked about street violence. And I just want to piggyback up off of it, how it relates to trauma or mental health disorder. We talked about the violence of shooting and killing and the outcome of it. The outcome of it is, for the most part, the prisons, the cemetery. Whether you're in prison for a short stay or if you are in prison for life, doing life, that not only traumatizes you, but it traumatizes the family, okay? Whether you were a youth going to prison, and hey, see, Michael, you know, being a youth going to prison at a young age, okay, and actually growing up in the prisons, which is trauma within itself. If you were a youth on the street, you know, hey, Delia, what's going on? If you was a youth in the street and the street was basically raising you, that's trauma, okay? That's trauma on so many levels, okay? You know, there are different factors. We talked about the perpetuating factor. There's so many different factors, you know. Some people are out on the street doing street violence because that's all they know. They don't know how to alter their behavior, or don't realize how it affects the family, the community at large, okay? You have some people that get involved with street violence because of acceptance, of loyalty, of gang-related, of feeling as though that's the only way and there's no way out, okay? This is real, people. How you feel today? Thank you for joining in, okay? We're talking about street violence and how it correlates to trauma, when you can be walking with the trauma and not even know that you're traumatized, okay? Or feel alone and feel as though that you have nothing to lose, okay? You always have something to lose. Whether you lose your family, whether you lose your male and leave children, or female and leave children, and children are to grow to teach themselves because your presence is not here. Your presence is not tangible. Can we talk about it? Trauma being untreated can escalate, okay? Trauma of being in prison for a long period of time and coming back out to society and have to adapt, okay? But there's an outcome to every behavior. So when you're out and you're in the street and you're committing violence, there's consequences. There's consequences to every action. Sometimes we have to, as people, alter our behaviors to make a difference, to make a change, okay? We talk about a village. We talk about saving our youth. We talk about not going to the prison to visit our loved ones, not going to the graveyard to visit our loved ones. So we talk about a change. We talk about the trauma and the escalate of the trauma. We talk about the fears and how this plagues our community, you know. So we're all affected. And in order to sustain our community, we have to get involved. We have to get involved to make a change. Okay, do you agree? We have to be involved to make a change because it's out of control, okay? We need to know that we can sit outside and we can not only talk to our children, which we want to talk to them about the legacy before us and our legacy and then their legacy. Okay, so it takes all of us to make a change to generate and alter behaviors. Okay, I was having a conversation with someone and they were telling me, well, sometimes the violence come from being a man at a young age, being a boy and being forced to be a man and taking care of your family and doing different things that the consequences take you away from the family, and you're traumatized, but you don't get the help that you need for the trauma, and then it just escalates. So true. Do you agree? So true. It's so true. And we have to not only come together as a village, as a family, to save and sustain our community, but to save our babies and save our youth. And find solution-based, trauma-informed information for them. Okay, get the help that they need. If they're in different cultures and have stereotypes about therapy, okay, join in and form groups to let them know that getting help is okay. Okay, getting help is okay. Building ourselves, not destroying ourselves. How you feel today, people? So today was just a check-in. It was a check-in to talk about where we at, where we've come from and where we need to go. Okay, we talked about sustaining ourselves to alleviate the trauma. The trauma can come from different forms. The trauma can be, you say, okay, how do I know that I'm traumatized? How do I know that I'm dealing with trauma? Okay, trauma can be, some symptoms of trauma could be not sleeping well. Some forms of trauma could be nightmares, can wake up in a sweat, okay, can have intrusive dreams. That lasts, again, remember when we talked about duration and we talked about frequency? So you say, I'm having these dreams, I'm having these sporadic nightmares that wake me up and I'm sweating, or I'm so afraid, or I'm afraid and I don't know why I'm afraid, or there's a certain object or a person or a place that when I get near it, my palms start to sweat, my inner body says danger, because it probably was danger. Can we talk about it? It probably was danger. It was probably danger. And fear of being in crowds, fear of being social, or fear of being around different genders, okay? Fear of taking your clothes off and exposing yourself when there may not be anyone in the room but you, okay? A fear factor of so many different levels, okay? Being fearful to just talk and communicate, okay? Feeling that there's someone else or another presence that's around you, or feeling like I can't get to sleep, or I toss and turn, or that dream, that nightmare I have it all the time, and it just plays over and over and over and over. So, this can come from the street trauma. This can come from other trauma, and the street trauma can like pile up on it. Can we talk about it? Maybe it's time to talk about it. So if you were experienced the trauma and was not getting the help that you need for it, and then all of these other layers of trauma, that piles up on it, what it does, it kind of it's like a time bomb ready to explode, because it's like, I can't deal with this, and there's so much stuff going on, and there's so much stuff coming at me, but now there's more and more and more layers that sometimes you go out in the street and someone can get hurt. It could be you, it could be me, it could be anyone, because that time bomb may have exploded, and when it exploded, it didn't really have anybody's name on it. Okay? Again, it is important to assess, and assess yourself. Okay? Assess yourself. We talked about journaling and the importance of journaling. We talked about journaling. Let's talk about journaling for a minute. You can journal that you're having nightmares, or you're having intrusive dreams, or you're having panic attacks, or you're just so anxious and having anxiety up the roof. Okay? Again, we talked about duration and a frequency of time. So you can go back and flip the pages and say, last week I had a nightmare on Monday. I had a nightmare on Tuesday. I didn't have one on Wednesday, but I did have one on Thursday. And I noticed that for the last month, 2 to 3 to 4 times I'm having this particular nightmare, or a nightmare, okay? Or when I get in crowds, I'm having these different panic attacks, okay? Or I feel so overwhelmed that I feel like there's no help for me, or there's no hope for the future. These are different signs of needing help, okay? These are different signs of getting help and stepping out the box. Whether you go see someone on a professional level, whether you tap into your spiritual self, okay, or your spiritual leaders, whether you talk to someone in the community, whether you build that village around you, it's like a fortress around you, but a safe haven and somewhere safe, and make the environment safe, that you feel like you can open up and you can talk and you can let it go, okay? It's important. How you feeling today? So today, it is important for us to take an assessment of ourselves and say, when I get overwhelmed, what do I do? Okay? When the violence happen on the street, whether it's near me or down the street or around the corner, what do I do? Okay? What do I do? What do I do to stay healthy? What do I do to maintain a sound mind? Okay? Again, I just wanted to touch in today. I am going to have a guest speaker next week. His name is Lamar Gilliam, and he will be on my special guest for Tuesday. Today I just wanted to just piggyback off of the different things that we have talked about, see how you're feeling, do a check-in, and to go over a few different symptoms to look out for, okay? And to say that we're all in this together, okay? We want to have hope. Hope for today, hope for tomorrow, and hope for the future, okay? And along with doing the assessment of ourselves, do an assessment of others, you know, so to be aware of what's around you, you know, like when we talked about talking to your neighbor, finding out who lives next door, who lives down the street, but also, you know, take an assessment of what's going on. In order to get help, you have to want help. In order to also receive the help, sometimes we don't know that we want it, but sometimes we have to dare to take a chance and take a chance on ourselves, okay? To give ourselves the opportunity to move forward and not carry. Remember we talked a while back, we talked about baggage and putting everything on the plate that doesn't belong in the plate, putting everything in a bag and carrying the bag, and the bag is so heavy. Sometimes we have to like let the bag lessen its weight by taking things out, okay? So on that note, I do have a quote today. It's short, okay? The quote that I have, it says, joy is not in things, it is in us. It is in us, by Richard Wagner. You know, sometimes we can look for happiness, we can look for acceptance, but we have to accept ourselves, okay? We have to make ourselves happy. And again, I ask for the village to get involved, you know, and again, we have to pull on the rope sometimes to get us through. And again, if my arm is frail, somebody could just grab it and just say, I got you, and help me get to the other end. It does take a village, okay? It takes a village, and it takes us to sustain our lives and sustain our surroundings and make our environment healthy, okay? I appreciate you so much. I appreciate this platform. Again, my special guest would be Lamar Gilliam. If it's the will of God, I will be back next week. I hope that you have your blinds open, have the windows open a little bit if you're not affected by the pollen. Again, self-disclose, I'm an asthmatic. I've been out there today and my breathing is okay. The pollen wasn't as heavy for me as it has been, but some fresh air to just like come in and breeze back out. It's wonderful if you can take a brisk walk. Again, if your doctor says that there's no limitations, I don't want to be telling you to walk and there's restrictions. If you can, take a walk. Take a walk around the block. Take a walk on the drive. Get in your car. Go sit by the water and watch the canoes, you know, watch the people go up and down, but step out the box. Sometimes we not only have to step out the box, we have to step out of our community, okay? And just Breathe in and let it out and just say, you know what? Let me restart. Okay? So before I end, I would just like to say, again, domestic violence is on the rise. Sometimes when there is trauma, or again, sometimes that learned behavior of abuse can traumatize someone. There's a number by SAMHSA. There's an 800 number. If you have an insurance card, you can look on the back for member services and you can get the help that you need. If there's someone feeling suicidal, you can call 911. You can call the suicide prevention. You can ask for help, okay? If in the fact that you need individual therapy and you want to contact me, I can be reached at 267-574-4632. Again, 267-574-4632. If you're looking for individual therapy, family therapy, couples therapy, or therapy working with PTSD. All right. I will be posting the numbers on my live feed afterwards. If there's a comment, please leave it. And if I don't get right with you, I will get with you and leave a comment to comment back, because I appreciate you taking the time. I just want to say that it's important and time is valuable. So for you taking the time and tuning in, I appreciate it. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'm going to take it out with some breathing to just kind of digest everything that we said. And it's inhale, exhale. And this is called guided imagery. This is called when I'm up to 100 and I need to bring myself down. Guided imagery could be stepping out the box. It could be somewhere, your favorite place. Mine, self-disclosed, is the beach, is the water. But wherever you feel safe and it feels comfortable for you, that's where you take yourself, okay? You breathe in, you breathe out, on a way slower pace than where I'm going. And I'm going to do 5. If you would like, you could join in with me. Again, if it's someone else that you may want to share, their anger may be out of pocket, and you might say, you know what, let's sit down, let's breathe a little bit, let's inhale, exhale just a little bit, again, open your windows, let some air come in, or just go to the door and just breathe some in. I'm asthmatic. You see, I'm a little clogged up, but it's okay. It's still a beautiful day, and I'm going to enjoy it. I am not going to stay locked up in here because it's too beautiful outside, okay? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Last one. Breathe out. I have totally enjoyed you today. And yes, you can hear I'm a little clogged up with my asthma, but my asthma's not acting up. And I'm actually going to get out in that air. It's absolutely gorgeous outside. So if it's the will of God, I will be back on Tuesday with my special guest. It's absolutely beautiful. Hermoso Diaz. Que precioso. I appreciate you. Hug yourself. Love yourself. Love your neighbors. Okay? Be the change. The change starts with you. All right? It's absolutely gorgeous. I have enjoyed you. Thank you so much for giving me your time and joining me on this platform. Have a beautiful day. See you later.